a city in flames, a battle unlike any other, a moment in history that shattered an empire. It was here, in the ruins of Stalingrad, that Nazi Germany's fate was sealed. Hitler's most powerful army marched in, confident of victory. But what they found was hell on earth. For 6 months, soldiers fought in the frozen streets, locked in brutal, merciless combat. This was not just a battle for land, it was a battle for survival. Every building became a fortress, every shadow a battleground. And when the tide finally turned, the mighty German Sixth Army, once an unstoppable force, was left to rot in the snow, abandoned by their leader. This is the Battle of Stalingrad, the bloodiest battle in history. And the moment the Nazis began to fall, the Germans expected an easy victory. What they got was a nightmare. As German troops entered the city, they faced something they had never seen before. The Soviets turned every street, every building, and every basement into a death trap. Machine guns fired from hidden positions. Grenades rained down from rooftops. Snipers lurked in the shadows, waiting for their next target. One of those snipers was Vasily Zaitsev, a Soviet marksman who became a legend. From the ruined rooftops, he struck fear into the enemy, eliminating dozens of German officers with deadly precision. The Germans called it rat warfare. They weren't just fighting an army anymore, they were fighting for inches of ground in a city of the dead. One building, later known as Pavlov's house, became a symbol of Soviet resistance. A handful of defenders held out for 2 months, repelling attack after attack. The battle had turned into a grinding, brutal war of attrition. And as the harsh Russian winter set in, the Germans were about to face their greatest challenge yet. By November 1942, the Germans were stretched thin. Supplies were running low. Temperatures dropped below freezing. The Sixth Army was fighting not just the Soviets, but the elements. And then, the Red Army struck. On November 19th, 1942, the Soviets launched Operation Uranus. Over 1 million Soviet troops, thousands of tanks, and waves of artillery attacked from the north and south. The Germans had relied on weaker Romanian and Italian divisions to guard their flanks. They crumbled under the assault. Within days, the entire German Sixth Army was surrounded, trapped inside Stalingrad. Hitler ordered them to hold their ground. Supplies were airdropped, but it wasn't enough. Soldiers were starving, freezing, running out of ammunition. Yet, Hitler refused to let them retreat. By January, it was clear. The Sixth Army was doomed. With no food, no reinforcements, and no way out, German troops were dying by the thousands. Some tried to eat rats to survive. Others froze to death in their trenches. By January 31st, 1943, General Friedrich Paulus, one of Hitler's most trusted commanders, surrendered. Over 91,000 German soldiers laid down their weapons. They marched into Soviet captivity, but only 6,000 would ever see Germany again. For Hitler, this was more than just a defeat. It was an embarrassment. The first time an entire German army had been wiped out. The myth of Nazi invincibility was shattered. The war had turned, and the road to Berlin had begun. The Battle of Stalingrad wasn't just a Soviet victory. It was the turning point of World War II. From this moment on, the Nazis were on the defensive. The Red Army pushed west, liberating city after city. 2 years later, in 1945, they reached Berlin, and Hitler's empire collapsed. Stalingrad was more than a battle. It was a symbol of resilience, a testament to what happens when an army refuses to give up, even in the face of total destruction. A city once thought lost became the graveyard of the Nazi war machine. If you found this video fascinating, hit that like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which battle we should cover next. History is filled with moments that changed the world. This was one of them.